Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. We're glad to have you with us. We are in the mid-thousands, and we are doing another video podcast.
Something.
One of you actually asked if we're going to do a new opening song, and the short answer is no, because now that we're on video, we have to do a whole now video open.
No, we'll sing it. We're
not going to sing
it.
No one wants that. No one has asked for this. No one wants that. So we're not going to do a new opening song. We're just going to dive into all of these car debates now. We have a Topic Tuesday. We've got news up front. We have all the things that we do, the two car debates, the two car conclusions. There are a ton of questions for this one.
Yeah, thank you guys for all your questions. Really appreciate it. Yep. We're diving right into news about updated Apple CarPlay. It is called CarPlay Ultra that has been introduced first on Aston Martins, and CarPlay is pretty much ubiquitous. If you check the iOS page from Apple, the list of cars, not only do they publish the manufacturers, they publish all the different cars that it is available on, which is a huge swath. We love CarPlay. We love Apple Android. We love what it does for your interface. It is simple, clean, easy. And now Apple has decided to make Ultra, which takes over even more of your car's screens. And if it is designed for it, like Aston was never known for having a lot of interface and, a lot of their own software. But for the companies that do, like BMW, notably, they're pushing back and refusing to install Ultra on all of their vehicles. They're just saying, we'll continue with CarPlay. And that'll be that.
The concept at its base is, okay, sit in your modern car, anything made in the last 10 years, and you probably have, certainly the last 5, you probably have at least one big screen above the center console, and then you have a screen in front of you that is the instrument cluster. And the concept here is, as Paul's showing on the photo here, the concept is that if there's a screen in the car, your Apple device is now controlling that screen. It may have branding related to the car, but Apple's taking it all, which means they're also getting data from all of those screens. The concept is, if you've used Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, you have that moment where if you want to get to features of some of the features of the car, you have to go out of your interface, your CarPlay, into typically is an icon for your car. You have to go into that icon, like on my...
You go back out to the other software stack.
Exactly right. To get into the changes. And you don't need it very often, but that's the thing. So the thinking here is Ultra now has embedded itself in all of those systems. So without leaving, if you will, the Apple infrastructure, you can drill down.
Porsche's is a bit of a hybrid between Apple CarPlay and some of the functions still embedded in screens. But I'm sure Apple saw all the instrument panel designs, notably Mercedes, BMW, Hyundai, with that single, very slender screen. So it's actually two screens side by side, but it has changed the architecture of dashboards, of instrument panels. And so I'm sure they've seen that and said, we could take over the whole thing instead of just the center. The center stack. It depends on the car, certainly, but we could have the entire interface, but they're stepping on car manufacturers' toes at that point.
Big time.
And car manufacturers that design their own software and put a lot of heavy lifting into their own software, they're not liking this too much. But I think since Apple abandoned their own car project, this is how they still get more into the car market and get more integrated.
It's leftover code. What do we do with this code stack? We could do? We could just push it to every other automaker on the planet.
And GM, they're introducing CarPlay in their vehicles outside of North America. So good news, you can get it, not in the U.S. or Canada.
Well, and they're super Google embedded now, though. All the GM vehicles have got a ton of Google information. And the fight on all of these, and the thing you have to remember with every single one of these discussions, beyond usability, the fight beyond usability, and GM was at least somewhat public about it, it's about data. Because as you use these devices, your location data, your usage data, your speed data, all that kind of stuff is being harvested. So if Apple takes over all of these things, Apple's getting the valuable data. GM didn't want Apple to do that, which is why they originally removed CarPlay. They've got a Google partnership. Of course, Google's ruling us all anyway, so Google's got all the data anyway. So that's all happening. But in every single case, what we're talking about is what data is being harvested by the car and or the manufacturer, and that's what they care about the most.
All of it.
All of it. All of it. It's
all of your data. We sucks it out of your phone. It's all attached to the cloud anyway, so it sucks everything out.
You're right. I mean, we get these car debates or these arguments, or I guess screaming at the sky every now and then, emails where people say, I don't want my car to track me. And I keep thinking, do you have a smartphone?
Too late.
Because if you have a smartphone, you're being tracked. All of that data is out there. But it's who gets the data and what can they do do with the data. And of course, everybody eventually sells the data. So this is what we're really all talking about. The thing I think is interesting is I read one article about somebody who actually had one of these Aston Martins, a journalist, for a week and drove it around Los Angeles.
With Ultra?
Yeah, and gave the pros and cons of the system. And one of the big pros that they talked about was how, because they use Siri a lot in their normal life, hey Siri, do this, right? Yeah. By the way, when I said that, did your phone do something just now? Anyway, so hey Siri, do whatever.
Listening in their car, yeah.
So I watched a show actually the other day where on the show somebody commanded Alexa to do something, and when they did it on the show, mine tried to respond.
Fantastic.
So I had to stop the show to not have other
We're gonna
audio.
Troll each other's phones.
Exactly, and to tell my Alexa
awesome
to stop and then go on with my show. And here's the thing. They did it 100% on purpose. I know they did. It was not something they did casually. Anyway, yes. But the point was, this journalist was talking about how much they liked driving the car and talking to Siri to tell Siri to do things like turn up the air conditioner. Now, my question is, and this is a genuine question, you listening, you watching, how much do you use those car change this voice features in the car? Because I'll be honest with you, they drive me nuts. They drive me absolutely nuts. I don't want to tell the car to do anything if, now here's the exception, if I can reach it with a small movement.
Well, in Volkswagens, you can't. So they're forcing you to speak to the car, which I'm sure they enjoyed because now they're harvesting your voice pattern
there
too.
You go.
So they, all of your passcodes are cracked. If it's data encryption or, the HUD is scanning your eyeballs as well, or something is scanning. Well, the little bar is scanning your.
Of course it is.
Telling you to pay attention to the road.
Yes,
that's scanning your eyeballs too.
Totally. I mean,
great.
But back to the point I'm making here. I have limited usability or limited features set up smart home wise through an Alexa in my house. Okay, don't have a ton of them, but the main place I use it is because we have a lot of various lamps around the house, and none of their switches are accessible easily. It's not like you walk over to the wall and you hit one switch and 5 lights turn on. You got to go over to that light and that light and that light. So we've programmed them all.
Lean over the coffee table, over the edge of the couch.
Exactly right. So that's the thing. So that's the great thing for a smart assistant to do. I can ask the smart assistant to do the thing, and multiple things that would take me time and reach and get up from where I am to do. That's perfect. I'm sitting in a car. I can reach over and adjust the volume, or I can reach over and adjust the fan speed faster than I can say the sentence.
Yes.
And so my question is legitimately, how many of you are actually using the voice features to control stuff in the car? Because I think this is a non-issue anyway. And people have said to us many times when we've talked about bad buttons and that kind of stuff, use the voice controls. And I'm sitting here going,
lack thereof.
True. I'm sitting here going, I don't want to take longer and have to speak the thing properly when I can reach over, or should be able to reach over and do it. But this is the kind of stuff that Apple's counting on, is that you're going to use Siri even more. But I'm literally polling the group because it's not something I use. It's just not something I use.
Well, so clearly this comes down to car manufacturers telling Apple this far and no farther. Yeah. And if Apple does want to go farther and continue on in the automotive market, they either have to invent a car by themselves and bring it to market somehow, or they need to take all these executives out to a really nice dinner or a sporting event and continue to push on the, hey, we're trying to get cozy with you guys and convince you that you should go with our system because that's going to continue.
Of course.
Just because a car manufacturer has decided doesn't mean that's the end of the story.
True.
I'm sure all these companies are constantly asking car manufacturers what's coming next because none of it's sorted.
Yeah.
It actually kind of ties into today's debate about software, and that has to do with reliability. But we'd like to all think it's as reliable as our phones, but it might not always be. So, TBD, I think. This far, no further. Does that mean Apple will just not support CarPlay anymore? Hey, if you guys don't want Ultra, it's either Ultra or we just sit on a 10-year-old code stack for CarPlay and it's still in your cars.
Well, but see, then that would actually give up the data and the usability back to the car makers, and Apple's not going to do that.
That's true.
Wants
They don't want
to be getting that data. They want to keep you captured. I mean, the only real benefit I can see to this Apple Ultra idea, and I say this because you and I drive so many things. If you drive lots and lots and lots of cars, there's no getting in a new car and searching for how it works.
True.
Because it works like your phone works all the time, which is the thing, candidly, I actually like about Apple CarPlay right now in the car, is because the music and the podcast and the whatever, that all works exactly the same as it does in every single car. So that's nice. But if you take it all over, then you cease to have personality related to the car or the car's design. This is the progression you've talked about before. All cars are skateboard platforms that are EVs with batteries in the center, and they all have Apple CarPlay, and then they're all just same.
And now if you have to plug a cord into your phone, what is this ancient technology? You have to plug an actual cord. How come it's not Bluetooth? I mean, there still are cars in the market. You still got to plug the cord into the end of your phone for the car to actually recognize. And
you're trying to make fire in the
that was
cabin.
Like way back in the 2020s, in 2020.
That was
somewhere.
pre-COVID, dude.
Yeah, before
terrible.
times.
It's very funny.
Moving on to a new piece of news. I actually did miss this in coming across the news that we found, and that is an announcement from a new ultra-luxury automotive manufacturer called Dacora. Dacora?
I'm glad you brought up photos of this. I have many questions. I have many questions about this.
At Dacora.com, you can reserve yours. It's slated to be about a $500,000 EV that is designed to harken back to 1930s streamline modern styling on an unannounced EV platform that probably is sourced from GM. I mean, here we go. If we can buy crate motors from Ford, Chevy, Chrysler that are 1,000 horsepower, that 1,000 horsepower crate motor from GM that you can buy with a 30,000-mile warranty.
Well, there's the Elephant from Dodge or whatever. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Can we also buy batteries and EV platforms? Can we buy the skateboard?
Can I buy your skateboard?
And now create our own car companies. This one is Dacora. Dacora.
I don't know.
Decorum?
All I know is it looks like this.
It is the 1930s streamline modern styling that the founders of the company have decided this will appeal. Now, it's not going to appeal to everyone, but something I did note is you can see right here on the hood, it is teak, I believe, but they'll need to make teak polish for this particular car because it needs to be kept nice. I am not quite convinced about the styling, but Dacora has partnered with Pininfarina Group to come up with the new design. Now, that also means that anything you want when you go to a design firm, they're designing for their client. They're not designing for themselves or for us necessarily. They're designing for the client and what the client thinks their customer base is. So this is the direction that they're going. Question remains when this car and if this car will hit the market, but also the customers. Will that appeal to I understand it's sort of a throwback to the 20s, the 30s, the elegant, everybody dressed up for every occasion. You dressed up to go flying. You just wore a suit and tie just to fly because that was the reason you wore a suit and tie.
It's also the era where people inexplicably stood at the dock and fully dressed in hats and everything and waved at a cruise ship until it vanished. We have moved on.
That's true.
We have moved on,
They did
folks.
see it off.
They did see it off.
Elegantly dressed.
Yes. We're going to wave until it vanishes.
Which is a long time.
The world has moved on here, folks, okay? The thing is, this looks so out of time.
That's because it is.
I know. It looks like this belongs in some kind of steampunk movie where they took a 1920s or 30s aesthetic and they jumped it 100 years forward to make some weird sci-fi movie, and these are the kind of cars driving around. This doesn't look any more real than the current Jaguar concept. It has that same out-of-reality kind of look about it. And the biggest question I have, to be honest, this is a startup. And if you dig in,
I'm not sure if they've arrived at the up part yet.
It's starting. The thing about it is they are trying to create a whole mystique around this car. That if you want to be a buyer, you're going to come into their studio. They have like a place like their, I don't know, Dacora Acres, whatever we're calling it. They have a place where you come in and you meet with the designer, and I'm sure all of the couches are wonderful.
Acres.
Seriously, you see what I'm saying? They're going to give you an espresso or whatever it is you want, and you're going to go through swashes, and you're going to figure out exactly what you want your car to be. That's the concept. They're trying to make a thing that is fully bespoke, which was an idea of the 20s and 30s, which was very cool. Coach building was very, very cool up until like the 50s. It was awesome. You can get this in 4-seat luxury. You can get it in like 6-seat benches. You pick all your materials. They're going to have adventures and experiences for their buyers. They're trying to create a cultural thing.
Yes, yes.
The question I have is the $500,000 figure. This is as vaporware, I feel like, as the current, supposedly still upcoming Tesla Roadster.
That is vaporware, in my opinion. Although Tesla claims it's being worked on, and it might be in the design studio.
Still coming, yeah, for sure.
We'll see.
Where they are looking for people to put down money. Whoever the startup people behind this, I'm sure they will end up well off. And some of their customers might get 1 or 2 that will never get driven. But this doesn't feel real to me at all. And also, who out there is really wanting to spend $500,000 on a utterly untried car?
The platform apparently will make the car weigh about 6,500 pounds. It's a large car. It's going to be 800 horsepower.
Of course it is, because it's electric.
Right? So a lot, but it's also apparently slated to have a 400-mile range. Now, that styling, at first when I saw this, I thought, are they onto something? Are they so tuned in to the next cultural zeitgeist of where buyers are going and what ultra high-end buyers want that we had to look back 100 years to capture the styling and bring it forward in a modern way? And I'm not convinced. I entertained that thought just to be open-minded.
Sure.
You know what? Is this to move forward? Do we have to look back 100 years? To move forward into the future with EVs and new designs that are fresh and appeal to a new customer base that want this, do we have to look all the way back? And I'm not convinced that we do.
Well, but okay, let me give you 2 alternatives to this idea. Let's assume that this is awesome. Let's assume everything about this is across the board. Okay. And it's so fantastically coach-built that you're going to want one.
Okay.
Would you take this over a Celestiq, or what is it, the Spectre, the Rolls-Royce all-electric?
Spectre, yeah.
And my instinct is no. As much as I think the Celestiq will probably be dead on arrival, I think you would go for that car or the Rolls-Royce Spectre before you would roll the dice on this, unless you are just a car collector who wants to have something nobody else does.
I mean, the Spectre already exists.
Yes,
they
exactly.
are for sale. They're actually used.
There's a lot of them used for sale already. And here's the thing: Rolls-Royce knows this market.
Yes,
that's what Rolls-Royce does.
I'm also fascinated by the continual use of teak decking on any car that is supposed to be very expensive, very high-end, that is always trying to tie into yacht ownership.
It's yacht thinking, yes.
And this car kind of matches the deck of your boat that you have it somewhere, maybe docked at your private island somewhere on the planet, right? So that's the appeal. And I'm not sure that always needs to happen. Like for luxury moving forward, I don't think that always needs to be the case. The back deck on all Rolls-Royces, it's always the teak decking. It's just the yacht thinking. But this I see pulling up at a futuristic movie featuring horse racing, where somebody would pull up in this in Kentucky, and they're at their
and the horses are now robots that hover. They go. Maybe so, like something out of Jetsons.
You said acres, and that always conjures up old racehorses and where they go to die.
That's
something. Sunny Acres is where your old racehorse
welcome
is.
Welcome to Dacora Acres. Can I get you a sherry? And here's your robot assistant who's going to help you pick your. I don't know, all your materials. Oh, you do want it to look like your yacht. Did you bring pictures of your yacht? Oh, you know what? We'll look up your yacht. We'll look up your yacht registration.
It's publicly available.
We'll look it all up. It's going to be great. I also wonder how much, and obviously we don't have this kind of money. We aren't these people, but what's the Venn diagram? What's the crossover of people who have a wildly expensive yacht that want their car to match?
I should have made that Venn diagram.
Because here's the thing. I actually don't think most super high-end yacht owners want their car to match.
I don't think so either.
The yacht is an experience, and the car is an experience, and the house or houses in this case is an experience, and so is the plane. I don't think most of them want it all to match. So you're talking about a niche on top of a niche on top of a niche, because you've got to be, I have a monster yacht. I'd like a crazy $500,000 vaporware car that is a startup to match my yacht. I mean, we don't often talk about concepts, but the amount
projection.
There's the right word. The amount of projection this took, the boldness of this sell is way out there.
Look, I wish the founders of this company a lot of luck. I think we constantly need fresh ideas for the automotive industry. It's because I'm always wondering what's next.
Sure, yeah.
What's next for car companies after this? And that's something we may still cover in the future, and that is, what is next for the automotive industry? Is it just consistently more of the same? Do we keep talking about robotaxis? Does the tech finally get better and it's just more and more and more? Or are there fresh ideas that need to be introduced? I love the ideas, and I love it if there is a market for this. Others have been tried. I've seen people buy the IP and the rights to old car company names to try to resurrect them and bring them back, and that's not always been successful. The automotive market is hard. It's even harder than it was 100 years ago to just come up with a chassis, which then was pretty much a skateboard chassis. All those Packards and Rolls and Duesenbergs, it was always the Murphy-bodied or the some kind of body on top of a platform, a chassis. For sure. Same kind of thinking. Maybe that is the future, but now it just comes down to styling. So if it's all the same EV platform, skateboard everything, including Apple CarPlay Ultra, you just plop a new body on it.
Can I get Ultra in my Dacora, which matches my yacht, which doesn't have CarPlay Ultra, but maybe it could. Apple Yacht Play. That's what we're missing. Play. Apple Yacht Play
Siri,
Ultra.
Play me some yacht rock.
Siri, let's go to the Bahamas. Okay. I just don't even believe this is a thing. But okay, this is what we're talking about. We're way out. Look, we're a long way from everyday driver stuff, but I am fascinated by these moonshot ideas, and especially when it's connected to the word startup, because I kind of think no. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
Griot's Garage is our official car care partner and one of the first ever sponsors of our show. They don't just make great car care products, they want you to get out and drive.
Griot's is a family-owned company, and they've been a part of every one of our road trips. We always take speed shine on every shoot, helping us spot clean cars in a moment's notice.
Griot's foaming glass cleaner is the quickest and best way we've ever found to get windows clean before a big day of driving. Griot's is always releasing new and improved products, like their updated Wash Bucket 2.
Plus, all of Griot's liquid products are 100% guaranteed and made right here in the U.S. The Griot's folks are always happy to answer any questions you have and make sure you get the right product and the right results.
So get the best quality car care products out there from a company that has always supported this show. Our audience can always get at least 10% off by using the code DRIVER10 at griotsgarage.com.
The topic Tuesday today is very interesting. I was trying to think about what is it really about? And it's about, do we look at the words reliable and maintenance as different? And what makes a car reliable? And also, is maintenance a bad word? And I feel like, and we're going to unpack this, but I feel like in many ways we have conflated the two ideas. We think reliability is somehow connected to, I never have to maintain this car ever. I think there are a lot of us who just, I want to buy a car, never do anything to it, and then get angry if anything goes wrong. But most machines in your life, your own body, all these kind of other things, maintenance is required. If you like things to continue to run well, maintenance is required on most things in our lives.
Anything that is mechanical.
Yes, and cars are very complex mechanical things.
And your toaster doesn't really need maintenance, but you need to brush the crumbs out every so often.
Theoretically, you dump it over the sink. Please unplug it first. The point is, where is the crossover? Because AJ is writing in about unreliable things versus expensive things, and he knows because he has a 2008 E60 M5. Yes, the one with the infamous V10, known for blowing up. He bought it with 63,000 miles, and ladies and gentlemen, hang on to something. He currently has it with 221,000 miles on it, and he wants to talk reliability versus maintenance.
This is not AJ's car. This is just a photo of that M5, that E60 M5. that I admit I was all about when this came out.
They're very cool.
I had a ride in one. I felt those inflatable seat bolsters for the first time that pushed on you depending on how hard you cornered, and I heard the V10, and it was magic.
We did a test drive forever ago. It was awesome. It was. Fantastic. I mean, we were both terrified of the potential maintenance, but it was an awesome car.
Well, AJ's got this 2008 M5. 221,000 miles.
Mm-hmm.
It's got its original engine.
Yep.
He admits that maintenance hasn't been cheap, but he's done countless track days, road trips, spirited drives. It's never left him stranded. He was thinking about this one day. At what point is a car considered reliable? Is it 100,000? Is it 200,000 miles? It's an interesting thought experiment that he writes just recently to us when you compare this M5 to an Accord of the same year from 2008.
Okay.
So here's that Accord. Remember those Accords?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
He says the MSRP for the M5 was about 3 times more than the Accord. So it isn't fair to compare the maintenance to be around 3 times more for major service, or
you would expect it to be
fair.
Here's the thing. I love that he identified that, because when you and I bought our old used sedans, your Maserati and my Phaeton, one of the things we brought up.
Old used sedans.
Yes, they were. One of the things we brought up is, while we're big fans of used cars, and Auto Tempest will help you with that, autotempest.com/everyday is the place to find anything you can imagine. Mm-hmm. And used cars buys, I'm all about it. As much as we like and have bought some new cars, used cars are where the deals are. But you can't buy a massively depreciated luxury car and think you're taking a $30,000 car in to be serviced. You may be taking a $100,000 or $200,000 car in to be serviced, and the repair bills will be in accordance with the original MSRP.
I like that you identified that way back when with my 928.
You
just because it's an old car, they'll say, well, it's still a Porsche 928, the best car they ever...
Yes.
All their engineering stuff.
And AJ's saying this. He's saying, look, if my repair bills on a 3 times more expensive than Honda Accord car are 3 times more expensive than the repair bills on a Honda Accord, doesn't that make sense? And I would argue, yes. You can't think that a car you bought cheap that was expensive will be cheap to maintain. You are maintaining an expensive car.
AJ is saying this V6 Honda Accord requires a timing belt about every 100,000 miles.
Okay.
So it's about $1,000 with labor. The M5 requires rod bearings every 100,000 miles, which is about $3,000 with labor.
He's done research.
3 times.
He's done the math. I love it.
He says both of these major services, if they're neglected, can blow up the engine. So they are both non-negotiable services. Both cars have problematic automatic transmissions. That 6 automatic transmission for the Honda, the SMG for the BMW. And they could leave you stranded if and when they fail. Consumables like brakes, tires, etc. for the M5 are around 2 to 3 times more expensive, but they last just as long as the Hondas.
He has done math here. I love that he's dug around into the comparative car from the same era and actually done the math. It's a fascinating discussion.
You did get us thinking, AJ. Thank you for writing. He says the M5 is consistently considered the most unreliable car ever made. Not ever made, but ever.
It's up there,
in the enthusiast headspace. The Honda Accord is renowned for its reliability, but when we break down the maintenance and adjust the prices accordingly, are they really that different in terms of reliability? He says no one calls Porsches unreliable when you have to spend $5,000 to $7,000 to drop the engine to weld some coolant lines on the Mesger engine cars.
The research has been done here. He has dug around. I love it.
All us Porsche nerds just say, well, they're high maintenance,
yes,
right?
They do. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So AJ asks, do we often confuse unreliable with expensive? That is fascinating. Well, AJ, at first I thought very few people buy a car anymore these days thinking, I'm going to keep this to 200,000 miles. I'm going to drive this to 221,000.
Yes.
Does anybody buy an EV these days thinking, I'm going to keep this for 221,000 miles? I'm going to drive like you do with a Subaru. I'm going to pass this down through the generations. That is not the marketing advertisement behind Rivians, Teslas, Hyundais.
That's a great point.
Those marketing people say, well, you want this now.
You want it now.
Lease it.
Get a lease. Yeah, get the latest
the new
and greatest.
Tech is coming.
You're right. That's totally the difference. And you've nailed
Subaru
it.
leans into that.
Honda Accord, the Camry, the Subarus, buy it now, give it to your kids when they go to college. Yeah, I know your kid was just born, but they can come home from the hospital in it, and they can go to college in it because you'll still have it. No EV is being sold that way.
No,
that's a very good
EV.
point.
Nobody thinks I'm
right.
going to keep this EV. Does anybody think going into a 10-year-old Tesla Model S right now, I'm going to buy that, and it's got 118,000 miles on it. I got it for $14,000 or $15,000. I'm going to have this for a long time, or I want somebody's cast-offs. I'm probably the 8th owner of that car. Did the software properly get upgraded?
Interesting. All right.
I mean, that brings me to the question of what makes something reliable. I mean, the reason all those mid-90s and 2000 era Hondas and Toyotas, remember all those engines, the CRXs, the Camrys, they just seemed to run. And that was because they had relatively unstressed, generally low compression ratio engines.
Sure.
Not always. Yeah. And having a low compression ratio or having a high compression ratio does not necessarily determine the reliability, but it can affect it over time. For example, a highly stressed turbo motor, like on the Mitsubishi Evo 10, that's a high stress engine. Like 75,000 miles, you're like,
Well, and you have to assume somebody's driven it really hard versus your average base Honda Accord is an unstressed engine that probably wasn't driven that hard. That can go, you assume that can go a long way.
Right.
We're talking about a V10 here that takes a lot of maintenance. He's done the maintenance, and it's just kept running.
I mean, granted, diesel engines, they are all about compression ratios from 14 to 1 to 25 to 1. So, of course, they last a long time. So what it also comes down to is the quality of the materials, the quality of the metallurgy, the components, the quality of the car, ultimately. And that's why all these cars ran and continue to run. I mean, you could successfully go buy a 300,000-mile Honda CRX right now and drive it another 300,000 miles, probably just fine. Because it's got 90 horsepower, unstressed engine, just keep the oil changed and Bob's your uncle and you're good.
Well, but this brings us back around to, I want to talk about some super high mile cars, and I'll go to the first place, and that is Matt Farah. We all know Matt Farah's his million mile Lexus, right? He bought that Lexus LS with 900,000 miles and thought, this will be a laugh. We'll take it to 100. And he thought what all of us thought, and that is a Lexus LS that's already at 900,000 miles is going to be a breeze to get to 1 million miles. And he spent an inordinate amount of money. He's talked about it before, an inordinate amount of money just keeping that running because something was always breaking. Now, you can look at that two ways. It's got 900,000+ miles on it. Of course stuff is breaking. But on the other end of the spectrum, isn't a Lexus LS just supposed to run?
It's a Toyota.
Isn't everything just supposed to magically keep working?
He put money into that to keep it running. Of money
because the gag was to get it to 1 million. And so if it needed something, he spent the money on it. We have talked about this various places before, and I want to go down two rabbit holes real quick. The first one I say is, this is the reason behind why you and I rarely do a car debate based on maintenance or perceived reliability of a car. Because I don't know what day your car was built on.
That's why I'm free to buy Maseratis. And
yeah, exactly. And I don't know how you are going to maintain it or the person you're buying it from maintained it. I've got no idea. You can have the world's most reliable car, you think, and you bought it from the wrong owner and it was built on the wrong day, and that one will never be right. So it's one of the reasons we don't worry about that. But the other part of the equation here is, we have joked before, and I truly believe it. If you want to spend the time and the money, you, the collective you listening, could buy one car right now and drive it for the rest of your life. You could keep driving any car you pick,
in theory,
indefinitely. Because unless you run into a situation where they have physically stopped making parts for the car, if it breaks, you get a new part, you either put it on yourself or you get somebody to put it on for you, and it keeps going. These are very complex machines, but they are machines built on an assembly line, and as long as all the parts talk to each other, they could theoretically go indefinitely if you can keep getting parts. We don't drive them that way. We don't think of them that way. But you could. You could buy a car at the age of 16 and drive it till you're 106, and theoretically, if they kept making parts, it would keep running. Now, where is the sliding scale of, is this reliable? But I think where we're headed is into a conversation about how much we have all become consumptive. And I'm not trying to preach here, but my point here is, I meant to bring up a picture and I totally forgot. Think about all the iPhones that have existed in the last decade.
I have a box full of them. It's like not the junk drawer, it's the junk box in my closet.
Do any of you listening still have your first smartphone? Meaning, no, I don't mean in a drawer. I mean, you're using your first smartphone. Oh, not using it.
I still have it. It's totally dead.
How many of you are using your first smartphone? A smartphone is a computer in your pocket. Okay, as long as the software updates, you should be able to keep plugging it in, keep using it as a computer in your pocket. It's more advanced than any phone prior to the 100 years prior to that. Why aren't we still using that? Because we want the new, shiny with the extra features and the whatever. This has permeated into everything we buy, cars being the worst example. Because when your phone starts to bobble, look, my current iPhone, this has happened in the last few weeks to me, which is why it's on my mind. My current iPhone just doesn't seem to hold a charge much anymore. And what's my headspace? I ought to get a new one. I ought to just get rid of that. I ought to put that one in a drawer and just get a new iPhone.
I'm sure AT&T is hitting you up for some sort of trade-in.
They can't believe I haven't gotten one in a few years. Right. They're astonished. Somebody at AT&T is scratching their head. Why hasn't Todd bought a new phone? The point I'm making here is the minute there's a bobble with most of our tech, we don't think, I should get that fixed. We think, what a terrible piece of tech. And we just replace it. I'm saying the collective we. I know there are exceptions to every rule. I know maybe you spend your money one place differently than I do and vice versa. I totally get that. But in general, the minute it starts to not work optimal, we get a new one. So now you have a car as complex as they are, and we bring that thinking into our cars. I should never have to do anything to this. I'm annoyed I even have to get gas.
Maintenance? What's that?
What is maintenance? What do you mean oil changes? What do you mean tires need air? What? My brakes wear out? And if it has a bobble, you freak.
Yeah.
And I say this because I've had this experience with people's response to my Emira. I have met many, many people who, because I have publicly acknowledged the problems that I've had, look at me dumbfounded that I still like the car and am willing to keep it. And I'm like, I've had
because of the non-start thing.
I've had 3 problems in the first year. Yes, it left me stranded. It didn't start mysteriously 600 miles in the middle of nowhere. That was very frustrating. And I was very look. I will admit, as much as I liked the car, I was like, is this the beginning of a pattern? But it wasn't. It was a random bobble that hasn't happened since. I had the weird issue with the gas cap. The plunger broke. I had to get a new gas cap. Okay, and I've needed software updates for little weird things on the dash that pop up. Okay. Is this annoying? Yes. Would I prefer it didn't happen? Of course. Should it happen to a car as expensive as that? Definitely not. But hate it and get rid of it? How difficult are we that we can't expect, as complex as cars are, for stuff to go wrong now and then? And when it does, I know I'm preaching, when it does, just get that thing fixed. The thing that broke, fix it and keep driving said car that you love. And if you kept liking it, I had this thought, because I looked it up. There is this fascinating story of the most high-mile car ever.
Oh, yeah.
Volvo P1800.
That guy, Ira,
that had over 3 million miles on it when he died. 3 million miles. This is not a mass-produced car. This is not like a Mercedes they built for 30 years. A Volvo P10. How hard was it to get parts for this car? How hard was it to get tires and brakes?
Well, if it was closer to new in the 70s, you know.
Fine. But my point is, he bought it brand new in like the 60s, and he drove it until he died, and it had 3.25 million miles on it, which means short of body panels, he probably replaced everything. And my question is, I thought looking for parts on normal things was going to be hard. How hard was this?
His odometer was spinning like a ceiling fan.
Exactly. He said he
didn't
drove,
even have the 6th column.
He drove like 90,000 miles a year.
The 5 columns, like
3.25 million miles. People have done this with big pickups. Matt Farah did 1 million miles with his Lexus. The point is, it's just about the dedication for, I don't want to get rid of this. I want it to keep running. And can you find the parts? 3.25 million miles on that Volvo.
But he did it And it happened. And I'm so glad you brought up software, because I have a short history lesson for all of us way, way back in 2019. You remember when Volkswagen decided to pivot completely to EVs, and they made the announcement.
Oh, yeah.
And the following year, 2020, you remember this, they came up with a new division called CarIAD, C-A-R-I-A-D, I don't know how to pronounce it. CarIAD. It's a terrible name, terrible acronym.
Yes.
Not very well thought through.
Moving on, yes.
So they staffed this division with 5,500 employees, really smart people, programmers.
Yes.
And they decided, along with building EVs, changing the factories over, they were going to bring everything in-house, and they were going to design all of their own software, and they were going to do it all. Well, things change, and they realize it's not as easy as Tesla makes it look.
True. Yeah. Tesla does it well.
And that day when you and I reviewed the Volkswagen ID4, it was still pretty new.
Yes, it was.
And you noticed the check engine light came on the dash.
On an electric car. And by the way, if you don't know, the check engine light is about your emissions system. So an electric car that does not emit anything, the check engine light came on. I had forgotten about that. But
remember the gas
the check engine light came on the dash
with a little fan, a radiator fan.
The same icon we've all seen a million times. The check engine light came on. You know what was wrong with the car? Nothing.
The check engine light came on.
Check engine light came on.
You pointed it out. We scratched our heads.
We did.
Decided to keep driving. Nothing happened.
Yes.
Hated the infotainment.
Yes,
the world eviscerated Volkswagen's design because we decided that it looked great in a boardroom, in a meeting, and you click through and you have an iPad and you demonstrate, here's how it's going to work. And well, have you noticed you're constantly looking at the screen? And at that point, you've driven into a tree because autonomous driving still is not where
not a thing.
We all think it should be.
Self-driving cars don't really exist unless it's a Waymo. Yes.
What I love about our friends Kyle and Jordan over at Out of Spec, they constantly test software. And Jordan made a comment to me that he thought Rivian's software was better than Tesla's. Lo and behold, just a couple years ago, you remember Volkswagen partnered into a €5 billion arrangement with Rivian. Why? Because they realized
whatever it was they made.
CarIAD.
That needed to be walked away from.
Bad.
It's bad, yes.
It still exists, but they laid off 1,600 employees, kind of admitted defeat.
Yes.
It still works for most of the systems in the car. And as of April 2025, they have claimed 9 out of the 10 best-selling EVs in Germany used the software developed by CarIAD.
That.
Nevertheless, they have a tie-up with Rivian. Why? It's not that Volkswagen can't figure out how to build cars. It's not that they don't have good batteries or don't know about electric motors. It's because of the software. And Jordan identified it. Rivian's got great software, great interface, and it works.
That helps, yeah.
We treat cars, EVs, from here on out, anything that relies on all this software, like our phones, because our phones just work. But what happens when they don't, and you can't get it maintained, and the new firmware update that hasn't gotten pushed to your car yet didn't happen.
Yeah.
And some other mechanical thing, you can't make it update. You can't fix the car. What happens? Those EVs are disposable at that point. And I think that's kind of become I don't know if people have really been able to articulate that, but I think people are kind of catching on to that because it's that phenomenon that has caused Porsche Taycans to plummet in value. Why aren't they doing the Porsche thing where every Porsche just sells used for more than it was new? It just does. I can't explain it, but no, it doesn't because of that software issue. So can we continue to buy all these cars? Do we think of these cars as 221,000 mile keepers?
We don't. And there's another thing going on here, and I can't guarantee what I'm about to say is correct across the board, but I'm wondering, for any of you watching, do any of you watching have a family member with a refrigerator from the 50s or 60s? I have a family member with one.
You do?
Okay? Yes. Like an old style refrigerator.
They're all like kegerators now. Like put the tap right in the middle of the...
Kind of. But my point is, why is that still working? The post-war stuff,
the stuff simple, that was made out of cast iron,
the stuff that was made post-war,
yes,
okay, was made with this demeanor of this needs to be robust and it needs to last because I don't know when I'm going to get another one. But the problem with that thinking, if you are selling a consumer device, the problem with that thinking is the customer doesn't come back. If you sell them a refrigerator that's going to last them for 50 years, you don't get them back again.
We sold them the thing. They're good.
And they're gone. They're just, they have a refrigerator.
We need new customers.
So first off, you have to make it shiny and new and have new options that they don't have on their current refrigerator in this thing. But then the secondary part is, look at how everybody, this was a shift in the late 90s, early 2000s. Every company has gone to, please subscribe. Please pay a monthly fee for X, whatever X is for their company. Please pay a monthly fee so that we can know on our balance sheets for Wall Street, we have X amount of money coming in every month because you are subscribed to get the new updated thing. While I do believe that you could buy a new car and you could keep it for 200,000 miles. I believe you could pick any car you wanted and you could keep it for 200,000 miles. I truly believe that. An EV, any car you're looking at, I think any car you think of, if you bought it today, could go 200,000 miles if you maintained it properly.
Mm-hmm.
None of those car companies want you to.
You just said your phone battery was dying.
I know. I got to get rid of my phone.
So we need a new battery. That's got to exist.
You would think, but it's never quite as good, is it? But my point is, that car company, even though your car could go 200,000 miles if you maintained it, they want you back in 5 at most. They want you back in 5 years at most. Okay?
Nobody leases a car for 5 years.
There is a benefit to these things dying. There is a benefit to you subscribing.
Yeah.
All benefit of the stuff. I'm saying for companies that sell products, the benefit is we need you back. We need it to be just reliable enough that you'll be back for the next one, but not so reliable that it's the last one you bought. Let's be honest.
What's the edge? That engineering team, listen up.
Seriously. And I do
make it good, not too good.
I do think
make it good.
100 to 150,000 miles is like the edge. They really want, by that point, it's just like, you ought to come in. You ought to come in and get us. And I also think this is the trick of warranties. Because by 60,000 miles, most cars are fine. They're fine.
Yeah.
But so many of us, the minute it falls off warranty, we're like, I ought to get either an extended warranty, which might be expensive and I'm not sure about, or I should just get another car. 60,000 miles, it's fine. I don't care what it is. It's fine. Okay?
Except for a Volkswagen Golf with the timing belt and the Christmas tree.
Maintain it. I'm still saying, doesn't matter what it is, maintain it. But they want you back. There's benefit to it not really running 200,000. That's not what they want. You can do it. It's not what they want.
Make it really good. Not too good. Good.
Just good enough.
Just good enough.
Just good enough.
AJ, I think the answer to your question is the consumption that Todd identified earlier, and that is we all want the newest, shiny, latest new tech. And new tech moves faster than cars can be built, than they can be developed and built.
Yeah.
That's why Apple is here to offer CarPlay Ultra.
Yes, it is.
Side note. But
hey Siri, make me a new car. Hey Siri, order me a new car. Hey Siri, this phone sucks. I need a new one. Oh look, my battery's gone. Yeah.
On the other hand, all those 2013 Tesla Model S's, they're fine.
They're still fast.
They're still fast.
They still work.
They might have lost 10 or maybe 15% of charge capacity, but for the price you're paying, and they've got 118, 120, 150,000 miles on them. So get it. Yeah. Buy it. Keep driving it. Drive it until the wheels fall off and the car turns into dust. But will it last? Will that chassis last? The software updates, I think, are still happening on all those old cars.
I would assume so, yeah.
So that means you're still getting those updates. And so I'm encouraged on one point that the updates will always be coming. So it doesn't matter what the screen is. The electronics hopefully can handle it. It's not like your laptop where the iOS is too good for your laptop's guts, so I have to actually throw this away. That happens.
That happens too. You're right. The software has surpassed the computer's capability.
The memory, the
for sure.
chipset doesn't matter anymore. So I'm encouraged that theoretically, software updates mean that new cars, new EVs can continue to be built and we can successfully buy them. It's just nobody does anymore because the tech moves so fast and we want the shiniest, newest thing that that has to get integrated. We have to have it.
I was reading a thing recently about how the general, like the JD Power stuff where they talk about initial quality and that kind of stuff. And that's just about how many issues did you have in the first 90 days or year of your car ownership. And people's satisfaction has gone down since 2009. And most of that is connected, just in general, most of that is connected to people being annoyed with the interface in their car. So it's not that the cars became less reliable as far as the mechanical reality, but the interface that I'm working with. Maybe CarPlay Ultra is the answer. Maybe that's what we've done is just talked our way there. But I really do think...
The car company should accept Apple CarPlay Ultra.
It should just be Apple CarPlay Ultra, or I guess Android Auto Ultra, and we're done. No, but the thing is, it really comes down to pain tolerance. And do you want your car to keep running? Do you want to get a new car? And I've said forever, and I don't think this is a perfect answer, but once your yearly maintenance bill divided by 12 months is the same as you buying a good newer car you would like, it's time to jump. Because you could keep just spending money on car X indefinitely and make it run 3 million miles. But if you're spending, I'm just averaging it out, $300 to $400 a month equivalent to keep your old car running, why don't you spend $300 to $400 a month equivalent on a car loan and get a newer car? That's always been my breakover point. I'm not saying that works.
So that's the pain threshold. So we've determined
I think so.
The horsepower to weight ratio, which is 7 pounds. A horsepower cannot move more than 7 pounds to be considered.
No, it was up to 12.
It was 12.
It was
okay.
12. Yeah.
So
12
and under
range,
per pound of car that horsepower is moving.
Yes.
12 horsepower and under. Defines great sports car.
And you have your horsepower swath.
I have my swath of horsepower, 250 to 600 horsepower.
Which is a lot of things, by the way. Yeah.
500 horsepower in a car is a lot.
It's a lot. The base C8 with 500 horsepower is a quite powerful car.
That's a lot.
It is. Yeah, you don't really need anything more than that. You'll be fine.
All these EVs with 1,000,
anyway, yes,
that is not the direction. More power.
No.
I think we've ended at more power, like 1,000. 600, 800. I don't care anymore. It's going to be aero. It's going to be fluids to make it run.
I guess tires
like
to
Mercedes,
keep it on the earth.
Tires, brakes. That's the next thing. Horsepower. We're done. We're good.
I just read actually there was a UK magazine that just did testing on the Avaya. We talked about it last week, and it blew away all of their prior records for 100 to 200 mile an hour speeds. It was seconds faster than any other car, and I kept thinking, who's using that? You know what they did was they took it to a runway and tested that, which is very cool. But I just kept thinking, broke all your records 100 and 150 miles an hour and up, and I was like, and so therefore what?
And now that's useful for...
I mean, it's very cool, but okay. I'll drive it for coffee.
That's what most buyers will do. All
Go
buyers.
for coffee. Yep.
Because if you're going to
look at the cool doors, I'm driving for coffee.
If you're going to properly put a car on track, it's going to be something a lot less expensive. If you
if you go on track, you're not getting close to 200 miles an hour. There's no track long enough. There's no track that has maybe Coda that has a long enough straight that you could even get close to the top speed of these super powerful cars and then bring it back down with braking. Maybe something like Coda, which has got a 3/4 of a mile straight. But generally, it's just, runway runs? Who's doing that with their Avaya? Who even has an Avaya? Separate question. Anyway, that's from
Who
last
has
week.
access to a runway?
We're moving on.
Okay, so the final answer here.
Oh, you're going to wrap it up. Good. I'm excited.
Recipe
I'm excited for you to wrap it up.
Is $400 per month. So
I think
right,
the equivalent of $400 a month. Yeah,
$100 per year.
Yeah,
right. Is that the? You can't if you get the 40,000 miles
$4,800 a year.
$4,800 a year. I went to art school. Leave me alone.
It's okay. Yeah,
$4,800, and that's it.
If you're spending that every year, I think it's time to really consider, to keep the
car running. Can we round it up to $5,000? So if you have 2 major services a year, and does that include tires and brakes?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
Because of consumables. So your car either runs, but if you keep the car more and you don't spend that amount of money, and then you have a major bill, you're still within the threshold.
Of course, that's what I'm saying.
Keep it longer.
I'm talking about every year. If your car is costing you $5,000 a year
every year
to keep it on the road, $5,000 a year, really? You couldn't get something else for that kind of money that might run better? That's my personal way of looking at it. I realize everybody's personal in that regard. I think so.
$400, everyone.
Get a cool car for that.
Yeah, you can.
Since you're listening to us, you'll end up shopping for your next car. And when you do, you need Autotempest.com.
Any car, anywhere, at any price. Autotempest searches all the major car listing sites on the web, local or nationwide. And Autotempest has recently added price history for every car listed, so you can see how prices are trending and know if you found a good deal. You can also create search alerts and lists of saved searches, so you can find your perfect spec even easier the next time.
Search on any device, in your browser, or as an app for Apple or Android. New, used, or unexpected, Autotempest is how we search for cars. Go to Autotempest.com/everyday so they know we sent you. Autotempest, all the cars, one search. That Topic Tuesday got lengthy. I like it. That's really good. Let's do some car debates, shall we? How about that? That's what this show's called. Let's do the car debate.
Albert S. writes to us that he's not a BMW enthusiast and he doesn't want to own any more than the 4 he currently owns.
Any more than the 4? He has 4 in his garage right now.
But he's not a BMW enthusiast.
He's not. He just happens to own 4 BMWs right now. Yeah.
Do you like how I tied this into the Topic Tuesday? Because
I
M5
do, yes.
and more BMWs.
Well done. Mm-hmm.
Albert, thank you for writing. He discovered us earlier in COVID, and coming off nearly a decade of 2.0 turbo 4-cylinders and front-wheel drive-based platforms, this podcast was exactly the amount of bad influence that he needed.
We are often your bad influence.
That's
very, very good.
I aspire to be your bad influence.
We are, for sure, yeah.
A manual E60 BMW 550i broke the streak.
I like that. That's good.
Even though he's had plenty of fun cars and he attached a spreadsheet, there was never a true sports car on the list, and he's never driven his own car on track.
Hooked on driving.
Come to a Hooked on Driving track day.
Yeah.
Something finally clicked. Again, credit to the podcast for pushing him over the finish line or off the cliff. Depends on
Either
how
way,
you look
depending on, yeah.
Mid-2021, he sprung for a year 2000 Z3M Coupe.
Oh, those are cool.
He didn't start the day thinking he'd buy a car.
This is what happens when you're on Bring a Trailer. That's what happens. Yeah, he said the clown shoe wasn't even in his consideration list. He was looking at the 86 platform or a BRZ, the Miata, the 370Z, but he bought it and he couldn't be happier. So he has one now, and he just loves the analog feel of it. It's exactly what he wanted. I love that you were just – I love how people accidentally buy things on Bring a Trailer. You're just like, no. I've always liked
Nobody
those.
bid after me. Crap.
Honey?
Buying a car.
Yeah, that's happened more than once. Many of you have written to us with that. It is a thing that happens. That's really cool.
Al wants to have new experiences, but he feels like he's just going to fall back on his past. He wouldn't say that he's done the best job diversifying, but cars from his past that stand out include a 128i.
Also a BMW.
Yeah,
sorry, I have to say
true.
that doesn't stand out. It's another BMW. Yeah,
it's true.
Anyway.
Prelude, Mazda Speed 3, Audi S4, all the TDIs, the Golf R and the e-Golf. He barely ever thinks about the Tesla Accord or Volkswagen CCs.
He owned those, and they don't matter. He sent a whole spreadsheet. There's been a lot of car ownership here, yeah.
Over the past half decade, Al's felt a strong obligation to daily drive something efficient. He wants to support companies that move the needle forward, hence the Rivian R1T, Model 3 Performance, and e-Golf in his history, and he's found EVs to be fantastically utilitarian but low on fun.
And he likes owning an EV, but he's not requiring owning an EV, and he realizes that his wife, who now has a CX-90 plug-in, so he feels like, okay, so the EV thing's kind of been handled. We have driven that. He said, so now he feels like his desire to have an EV as one of their kind of dailies is handled with the CX-90. So he doesn't have to do that. But his 2 kids aren't front seat sized yet, so he hasn't really been able to share the clown shoe with them, but he's looking for something that can be fun. His current fleet, besides the BMW Z3, includes the Project E30, which runs. That's very good. He's got a new drivetrain and refreshed suspension happening in that. The E46 M3 that he got so the kids could come on fun drives. But until the E30 runs right and is fully sorted, and they like the AC. And then when he'd had a Rivian, when he got rid of that, he was offered a manual BMW X3. That is rare, actually. A manual X3 for almost nothing, and he couldn't say no. So we've got X3, E30, E46, and the Z3. These are his cars, 4 BMWs, and that does not count the fact that his wife has a Mazda CX-90. But he has 4 BMWs, personally.
Al, that sounds like a collection.
It does. It sounds like you are a BMW guy. Are you the guy that actually wears the BMW shirts when you walk around your all BMW garage?
No, because he's not a BMW enthusiast.
Apparently not, but I beg to differ, yeah.
He says, after driving on the salted roads of upstate New York in winter, by the end of February, he is foaming at the mouth for some form of driving fun on his 30-minute commute. He really needs the next daily to be engaging, especially during the winter, and provide variety.
So not a BMW?
Well...
Ideally.
ideally.
Yeah, okay, got it.
He'll likely replace the X3 soon since it's old enough to have a driver's license, has 145,000 miles. But, Al, you can keep putting money into it.
All the way to 220.
It can run to 221. That's the benchmark.
Yeah, it is. From now on, 221 is the benchmark.
$400 a month is your threshold.
He said he doesn't consider himself a BMW guy, but then he realizes how ridiculous it is that he owns 4.
Al has always leaned towards the sporty end of driving. He's got a strong preference for manual, even though he realizes that limits him. Luxury isn't a priority, but he does admit the whole time he had his 2019 WRX, he wished it had a nicer interior. Anytime you drive a WRX, you wish it has a nicer interior, but that's not why you buy a WRX.
That's actually fair. Every winter,
by the end of February, Al will be foaming at the mouth.
Yes, that's true. But every winter, somebody with an STI is going to post a picture or a video that they shot badly on their phone of they're pulling a UPS truck out of a ditch. That's the reason you buy your STI,
and it'll make the news.
You hoon yourself around, and you buy a winter-tired STI, and you pull delivery trucks out of ditches for fun. It's like your own weird version of automotive Santa. Yeah.
Al admits to missing something modern. Since selling his Rivian, he says using FM transmitters to connect his phone to his car is getting old.
They still have those? I know they do. I'm just teasing. Anyway, yeah.
This will be the daily family car, so it also needs to be somewhat practical and reasonably new. He is not afraid of rear-wheel drive in the winter, though it's not preferred.
Okay.
He's got a cool list of ideas currently, including a Cadillac CT4 or CT5 V-Series Blackwing.
Love those.
The G80 Generation M3. That's another BMW.
A BMW. I just want to point that that's another BMW.
But he suggests it because it's manual.
I know, but it's another BMW.
Ioniq 5N, RS3 or RS5, Integra Type S, E53, AMG, or the V60 Polestar. The Cayenne and Panamera e-hybrids also come to mind. Todd, you can speak to Cayenne e-hybrids.
I can, yes, for sure.
Better than anyone. He says he doesn't like non-car person attention. He'd rather not stand out in his nice middle-class neighborhood littered with pilots and F-150s and Highlanders, except for a person who owns a 911 GT3 he occasionally sees on a trailer being pulled by a Cayenne. So that does stand out.
That guy's the exception. But the point is, you don't want to be that guy. That's what you're kind of saying.
I want to be that guy.
I know you do. So some of the Cayenne things may be out.
I'm already that guy in my neighborhood. Like, what's Paul got in his driveway
absolutely
this
are.
week?
People are coming and going and have no their ability but to look at your driveway. Yeah.
So if I had a GT3 on a trailer being pulled by a Cayenne, that would really get the neighbors talking.
You've got
more than they
got
already
press cars
do.
coming already. So anytime you walk outside, you get besieged by at least 2 neighbors. I've seen it happen.
I can't
I've
get
seen it
any
happen.
work done.
On a nice day, whatever car's in the driveway, Paul's out talking to somebody about it. It happens.
Al says maybe a heavily depreciated Taycan would be okay. He's not completely opposed to something Volkswagen and Audi, but he worked for Volkswagen of America. So for a while, he's kind of been there, done that. The RS3 is likely the exception, but he's been thinking about Golf Rs. And he's okay not selling anything but the X3. That means keep 3 BMWs, replace with a car. So the X3 is 145,000-mile X3 is not going to get you a whole lot of money. If we sold more, we could find you more money. But he says there's no set budget, so fine. Well, that's your first mistake.
Yeah, exactly. There's no set budget, which is really dangerous, especially for Paul. And also, then the question just becomes, what BMWs do you sell to get into whatever else we're discussing? Al, I think this is amazing. I think this is really funny because, look, I have to be the guy that acknowledges the fact that, yes, you can decide you don't want more of the same thing in your driveway, and then I wound up with 2 Lotuses and 2 Cayennes. So as a result...
I thought you were suggesting Lotus for Al.
No, I'm not. Okay. I'm not. I'm just saying I understand how you don't think of yourself as a single mark person and then suddenly you end up with multiple of them because they work and you like them. I get how it happens. I don't recommend it, but I get how it happens. I have to say, look, you can't go wrong with your number one choice here, and that is either of the Blackwings.
Yeah.
There's not a single thing wrong with these. Both of them are great. How much money do you want to spend is really the question. Obviously,
no set budget.
The bigger one, the CT5, is the more expensive and more powerful one. But we drove a CT4 recently. That review is coming as part of our CODA series, and it is phenomenal. I know that's not a spoiler to anybody because people know they're good. You cannot go wrong here. So I highly recommend you there. I have to say that one of the other ones you brought up is excellent, and that is the Integra Type S. I think that this, to me, is the palate cleanser for you. The Integra Type S. You're coming out of a lot of BMW product. You haven't had front-wheel drive in a little bit. This is a new model, new thinking, front-wheel drive. This would be a great car in the winter, but it doesn't have an I'm sorry interior. It's got a nice interior, but it is front-wheel drive, manual transmission, great manual, great chassis, looks good, isn't very common, but it's one of those cars also that's just stealth enough. Your neighbors are not going to be like, wow, flashy car. I mean, I love it in this cool blue, and I would want to go as flashy as possible with it, but you can get it subtle. You can get it in white. We had a white one forever ago. It had crazy red seats in it, but it was so subtle to look at it. And then you drove it and we're like, that drives just great.
It does drive great. Yeah.
Really, really great. Yeah, if you want to go all-wheel drive and you want to lose the manual, that's the only reason I bring up this one, and that is the other one in this lineup is the TLX Type S all-wheel drive.
Yes.
You have two small kids. The only problem we've ever had with this car, which we've loved every single time we've driven it, the only problem we have is the back seats aren't big. Doesn't matter in your case.
Yep.
You could drive this car year-round. It is overlooked. It drives very well. It has very good power. Super handling all-wheel drive from Acura is a thing. It is a good thing. If you're willing to let go of the manual, which I know is hard in this conversation, this is my choice for you, is the Acura TLX, because this is a bigger car than the Integra. If manual is paramount, then you go Integra. But I have one wild card for Al.
Okay, I've got a wild card too.
And I'm very excited for your list because I think you're probably going to do this better than me. But my wild card is just because you want a different experience, and you want fun, and you want all-wheel drive, and you want manual transmission. All-wheel drive and manual transmission is hard. There's not very many.
Manual transmission is hard.
Yes, but there's not many that converge. All-wheel drive and manual transmission.
Yeah.
You don't want it to be flashy. I've solved all of that with my wild card, and it's this, the GR Corolla.
Ugh.
Now, you're going to be in the GR Corolla, and you're going to think this interior isn't very nice. But you didn't spin very much. You didn't spin very much. And the thing is, this car is going to make you laugh all winter long. You're looking for that car that you can drive through the worst of winter with a smile on your face. That's the GR Corolla. Because the other thing you have to steel yourself against, and you kind of already have talked about this, you have to steel yourself against the fact that this car is going to get beat on. That's what winters do to cars.
Yes.
Winters are hard on cars. Yes. This is a $30,000 to $40,000 bang-around Corolla all-wheel drive rally beast. Its purpose is to be beat on like winter only can do. Okay? The fact that the interior is not that nice, and it isn't. The interior is a Corolla. It's not that nice.
No.
But it has all the modern tech you're hoping for, so that's solved. And then it has this kind of, it's a winter car. Who cares? And yet you're having fun. This is my wild card, but I feel pretty strongly about it, that GR Corolla is the palate cleanse that does everything you want. Bang around winter, 4 seats, 4 doors, all-wheel drive, manual, and still fun on the commute. I give you the GR Corolla.
That's really good. I didn't really see that coming. That's really good.
That's why it's the wild card, because I don't know that it works, but I'm pretty proud of it anyway.
I mean, see, it'll be used for all winter long, and
then he'll hop in one of his 4 BMWs or 3 or however many he still has. 3 at that point. Yeah, exactly.
But this is still fun in the summer.
Of course. It's just going to be fun in general. That's the thing. It's a car that you might drive, period.
3 BMWs.
He does. He'll have 3 BMWs.
I mean, they're really nice BMWs.
They are. They're cool, but yeah. He's not a BMW guy either. I've heard that story.
I'm going to show you a different set of photos because we aligned like crazy.
Oh, did we?
I am going to suggest the G70 because when I saw the G80, I thought you meant Genesis G80, but no, you were referring to the chassis code of the M3. Let's not do that because that's another BMW.
Yeah, it's another BMW in case you didn't know.
The G70 is superb to drive.
Genesis G70 is great.
The 2.5, it used to have the base engine was 2.0. It is now the 2.5. Lots of horsepower, 300 plus horsepower, excellent car to drive, not a manual, but luxury, understated. And it's one of those cars in the neighborhood, your neighbors are going to take notice. What's this? It's luxury, but it's smart luxury. Ooh, it's luxury, but you're savvy.
It's not ostentatious at all.
It's not the typical German flashy brand names, Mercedes, BMW, that kind of thing. It's Genesis. Wow. Interesting choice. And your neighbors are going to want rides, and you're going to sell Genesis to other people in your neighborhood.
I like it.
But we do move on. Todd already covered it. I am all about the CT4 or the CT5 Blackwing.
Yeah,
we did drive that CT4. Really that is coming out in one of our Coda road trip films. And fantastic to drive. I do think you'd really dig it. And it's such a different flavor.
For sure.
Not BMW flavor.
For sure.
Moving on, I also chose the TLX Type S. I'm just showing you a different photo of it.
But it's still good. It's still very good, yes.
The only reason I didn't approve the Integra was because of front-wheel drive, but it is fantastic to drive.
And he keeps bringing up manual as a thing, and that's the problem. That's the reason that it worked its way onto my list.
It's hard. Get
all-wheel drive,
to the
manual transmission, and still fun is a difficult list. Yeah.
But this has super handling all-wheel drive.
It does. It drives very, very well.
It's super fun all-wheel drive.
Mm-hmm.
It really does work. It's excellent to drive. And, you can get the Tiger Eye Pearl. It's cool blue. And, I think you'd really enjoy that. And last on my list before we get to the wild card is...
I wondered if you'd go here.
You think so?
I did wonder about it because I thought of it too, and I thought, I don't know, but I'm glad you brought it up.
I mean, like, talking about rowdy in a suit. It's rowdy, but it's a Lexus, so it's understated. And then you can like cold start next to your... No, maybe not do that. Creep out of the neighborhood before you really get on the throttle, but then it's like ripping silk.
The Lexus IS 500 it's a rare car that still exists. It would be cool if it had a manual, because then you could really have a Cadillac CT4 Blackwing plus M3 plus Lexus comparison. I'd like to shoot that film, actually, but this doesn't have a manual. The engine deserves a manual. The best part about the IS 500 is the V8. The V8's great. Yeah,
it's superb. Everybody in your neighborhood, they will just say, "Oh, you just got a Lexus sedan, cool, good on you," and then wait for the startup. What is that now?
I'm sorry. Which car did you buy?
I went to a completely different place with my wild card.
Okay, good.
And it is not available for sale quite yet as of this recording.
Okay.
But I like it because it is so different. And I like it because Hyundai has leaned so heavily into the performance EV. And because you've owned EVs and this does appeal to you, I thought this could be really cool to add to your collection.
Well, he brought up the Ioniq 5N, so the fact that you're bringing up the 6N, it makes sense. Yeah,
that's the newest. That's the hot newness. That's the play. I expect this to drive and be as entertaining as that 5N.
Probably, yeah.
But the through line, you remember Hyundai hired all those BMW designers and engineers?
Yeah, for sure.
There you go.
So you got him a BMW with a different badge. Well done.
That's right.
Well done.
That's correct.
I didn't think about that, but you have just solved the BMW problem.
But it is.
It's good.
The styling says performance, but it says normal sedan. It just says an elegant, normal sedan. It's not going to stand out. The i5N is sort of like, what's that little hot rod pocket rocket thing? That's a little different. And this, I don't think your neighbors will notice too much, except in the performance blue and
which is the best color.
You can actually order a carbon fiber wing for this thing. I mean,
as you should. Yeah.
Go nuts, but that will feed your addiction to put new carbon bits on a car.
Okay.
You can still do it with the i6N. That is what I think you should consider, because again, you were really into it. You had the Rivian, you had the e-Golf, you were interested. I do think this could appeal, and it's the 6N, different style.
True.
This is my wild card for you.
Okay.
Happy shopping.
Yeah.
You got to let us know what you get when it comes time for the car conclusion, and you tell us that you've sold all the BMWs or something,
or at least one of them.
But see, now we're giving you opportunity to buy the swag from any of the car companies that we've suggested. So because you're not a BMW person, so there you go.
You have to buy a shirt from a different car company when you buy your next car that is different and not a BMW, because you probably have just an all BMW closet.
Thank you for writing everydaydrivertv@gmail.com. Write to us, Topic Tuesdays, car conclusions, and car debates. Jason W. is looking for garage advice. He owns a 2021 Giulia Quadrifoglio.
Very cool.
It's an excellent car. Daily road trips and a mechanically restored 1971 Alfa GTV 1750.
Such a cool car.
Wow. Fun, but costly to take further. Not road trip friendly, but a sweet car. When you see one of those...
They are very cool. They're very, very cool. Yeah.
Jason is craving something new. Maybe a Lotus Emira or a prior gen Aston convertible.
Okay.
Is the Vantage too close to the Giulia? Should he replace the Giulia instead? Jason wants a two-car setup. The budget is $120,000 or $170,000 if he sells both. That's a healthy budget.
Okay.
I'm going to spend it.
I'm sure you are, yes.
What car beats the Giulia in looks, feel, and fun for a single guy who loves road trips and canyon drives? Also, he doesn't think he's ready for a Porsche yet. He wants fun and exciting and different. He'll settle for a Porsche when he's a little older.
So
Porsches aren't for old people.
But I think that's a fascinating assessment of Porsche.
It is.
Because he's saying that they're a little too staid for what he wants right now.
I mean, they're for all the people.
Well, that's the thing. They are the default purchase for all the people. And don't get me wrong, I've talked about it. Look at our problem with Porsche episode. A lot of their branding, a lot of their cars aren't as interesting as you think they are. Their GT cars are awesome, but a lot of their cars aren't as crazy fun and exciting as you might think. I also think this is fascinating where you talk about you own two Alphas. Two Alphas. Two excellent Alphas, by the way. The Giulia Quadrifoglio is one of my all-time favorites, and I love that you drive it all the time. But the thing about the GTV that's fascinating is your assessment, your add-on here. Fun, but costly to take further, not road trip friendly. Now, if I take the first part of that, fun but costly to take further, I think what you're saying is there's nothing more I can do to this. I'm done. And the fact that you are willing to sell both cars says to me that that car isn't a car you're willing to just start up and take. You've gotten it as perfect as it's going to get, and you know that every time you drive it, there's going to be a little something. We're back to reliability again. You've taken it as far as you can. You say fun but costly to take further. That is not about road trips. That's just period. So I think it goes, the Giulia is really hard to replace because, I mean, look, we talked the black wings, we talked this kind of stuff. That's the only stuff that really is a contender to the Giulia. But I actually don't think, other than the fact that the Cadillacs drive really, really well, and the fact that you can get a manual transmission, I don't think they are more beautiful or drive better than the Giulia Quadrifoglio does. And I like them a lot. But prettier and drives better than the Giulia Quadrifoglio? I don't know that I'm there. I like the Aston Martin idea.
I think I am. I hope I'm there.
You think? Okay.
I think I can do it.
All right. I like his Lotus Emira. I think that's a great choice. Of course, I own one, so I have to say that. I also wonder about the Mercedes GT, the prior gen. Pick your flavor of that. But I have your two-car garage.
Good. You do.
I think I have his two-car garage done here.
This is gonna be cool.
First one is, you talked about Aston. Get yourself one. Get yourself an Aston Martin Vantage, the prior gen, the V8 manual if you can pull it off. Yeah. Look, I would say V12, but they're a lot more expensive, and I've heard they don't drive nearly as well as the 8s do, like when you start to push them. You're a Canyon Carver guy. You want something unique, interesting, new experience. But you are a car guy who likes to road trip and do canyons. I've got your two-car garage under $170,000. You get yourself a prior gen Aston Martin Vantage V8 and a Lotus Evora GT.
Oh, that's good.
The Evora GT is your track car, canyon car, and you could road trip it, but it is a little hardcore for road tripping. But it is manual transmission, mid-engine, quirky and British, and doesn't look or drive like anything else on the road. But then if you want to relax a little bit, you didn't get an obvious choice. You got an Aston Martin Vantage V8, which everybody on the planet just thinks is sexy, sounds good, and is classy.
I love that both of your choices are British. I love that.
Yes, I didn't expect that until I was like, you know what? This is what you want to be. The fact that you want to be unique is key to this discussion. You've owned two Italian cars, two Alfa Romeos. Let's get two British cars that are very different to drive.
Yes.
Either one of these you could road trip or track. But let's be honest. You want to road trip or go to a nice meal in the Aston Martin, and you want to actually run the canyons and do a track day in the Evora GT. Two cars. Sell both your Alphas. Get both of these. I think you can do it both for your budget and be happy.
Wow, those are really like excellent.
These two. I think that did it.
I do like your choices. I'm going to give you the hard sell, Jason, because I think that there's, in all seriousness, a real case to be made for the Maserati GT.
I am listening.
The new Maserati Gran Turismo surprised both Todd and I.
Yes, it did.
In the way it drives. By the way, have we mentioned that all the versions of this, the Moderne, the Trofeo, are all-wheel drive? And they have the new Nettuno V6 twin-turbo engine that I think is going to be fine. I don't know that, but they're putting it in the Grecale SUV. People are buying this engine, and up to this point, I have heard no angry, no rumors, no angry customers. Like, this just doesn't work. This is a pile of crap. It was a fresh, clean start. V6 engine with modern electronics, modern ECUs. They didn't go get that engine from somewhere else, from Ferrari or somewhere else, and put it in the car. It is truly a Maserati engineered, designed, developed, manufactured engine in their car. And I think it's going to be just fine.
It's a pretty cool engine.
I think it'll just run. And the way the car drives, it's like an overgrown GR86.
It's crazy that you say that, but I don't think you're wrong. It drives so much better than it has any right to.
I'm throwing a yellow one up. Well. I'm throwing Skittles colors at you, Jason. So I've thrown a yellow one up, but there's also a deep red, sort of like a cranberry red.
I couldn't believe how well this thing drove. And here's the crazy thing. You might be getting there, but here's the thing. These are really expensive until you go buy one, and they aren't moving them, so the discounts are deep.
They're very deep. Here's why I'm encouraged, because despite the woes that Stellantis is having, they have steadfastly said they are not selling the Maserati brand. It is also Italian, which I think appeals to you. It is unique. It is different. You're not going to see yourself coming and going. It is an excellent road trip car. You can go canyon cruising with it. Comfortable. Fast, lots of power, head turning. Let's take the badges off. I think it's one of the sexier GT cars ever designed.
It does look really good, yeah.
Just the sketches alone make me want to own this car. And then now combined with those deep discounts, the Modnas are kind of starting to get cheap. The Trofeos are not far behind. The Trofeos are the ones with extra power.
Yeah.
Either one, I think you could do very well.
That's good.
Owning this and pile the miles on. I think... The electronics, I think it's all going to be just fine. I think it's going to be in the same category that we all wondered, Alpha's coming back with the Giulia, this new Giulia to the US. Yeah. I don't know, it's Alpha, haha, make all your Alpha jokes, and it's going to be not so great. And then, what was the Car and Driver? And they discovered it was the battery not getting enough, giving the electrics enough power.
We've had a couple of owners tell us that, yeah, for sure, yeah.
But we've also seen very high mileage Alphas,
yes,
Giulias,
for sure,
quadrifolios of all kinds, 50, 80, 100,000 miles. They're doing fine. So I think this new Maserati is in that category of, I think it's going to be great. I think it'll be just fine. It's just going to run. It's going to be a lot of fun to drive.
Good idea. I like it.
And I'm saving you money so you can, for your second car, go get yourself a Mazda MX-5 RF. That is your drop top. That is your manual. That is your very lightweight counterpart.
It is.
Your license tag can say Maserati 1 and Maserati 2.
Oh, no, please, no. Funny, but no, please don't do that.
Mazda MX-5 and Miata RF, which is...
Maserati. Stop.
Sexy. It's timeless.
It is timeless. You're absolutely right.
The RF is such a cool car, and that's your drop top. That's your take to the track. I want a different flavor.
I like it.
And that different flavor comes in the form of being very lightweight. But they're two very different cars, even though they sort of, one's an overgrown Miata, one's a Miata, but they both drive really well. And I think between these two, you'd have trouble choosing on any given day, which one do you want to get in and drive?
I love it.
I think it would be difficult.
You're talking about a Maserati and a Mazda. That is a fantastic two-car garage.
Yes.
Well done, my friend. I love it. That's great.
All right, so you have a choice, Italian, British. Got the Japanese car thrown in there too. Definitely let us know. everydaydrivertv@gmail.com.
For the first car conclusion, David's writing in just to kind of let us all know that we've talked about it, with the tariffs, with the EV pullback, with the discounts not happening anymore for EV, the tax credits not happening, there's some deals going on. He actually has a weekend fun car that is a current gen GR86 that he loves. He was shopping for a commuter. He just got himself a lease deal on a 2025 brand new Volkswagen ID4 Pro all-wheel drive for $80 a month. It was $2,000 down, 7,500 miles a year, 12-month lease. So he has it for a year at $80 a month. He commutes about 5 miles to work. So having only 7,500 miles when this was just going to be his commute car, he was like, and
That is fantastic.
They are desperate to move them at his local Volkswagen dealer because they know the EV tax credits are ending. He was even given 500 kilowatt hours free charging from Electrify America, which is going to be the equivalent of 8 to 10 charges. So maybe 1,500 of his 7,500 miles are going to be free miles.
Unbelievable.
So if you're shopping for an electric commuter right now, now is your time, friends. He was just writing in to let us know that, David. I think that's amazing.
Well done, David. Moving on to car conclusion number 2, Thomas R. gives us the longest time for a car conclusion way back from episode number 249.
That's a long time ago. Yeah, uh-huh.
He wrote to us back in 2017 about getting rid of his 2016 4Runner and replacing it with something more comfortable and exciting. He's a longtime listener. Thank you, Thomas. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
It took him a long time for the opportunity to have a fun car in his life. He's got one son now, congratulations, and he really wants to show him his interests and maybe spark a car interest of his own.
Okay.
Although he's young, he currently only cares about monster trucks.
That's a stage.
Which is a stage.
Uh-huh.
He says he writes this maybe for some of those others that dream but don't or can't currently act. He says it is never too late. A few months ago, Thomas bought a Project 1983 944.
Oh my gosh.
He has a thing for old Porsches, 914s and 912s, and he's owned it, looks like. He's owned those cars, and he actually fits in the 944. It's got low miles for the year, 78,000 miles, and has barely been driven in the last 20 years. The car was supposed to be a driving project. However, he finds himself with the entire drivetrain on his garage floor at the moment. He says getting the clutch in the transaxle car is not easy. Tell me about it. And it leads to many other side jobs on a 40-plus-year-old car.
Now, Thomas, I read this, and the more I read it, the more I shook my head, I have to say. Because we started with, you were looking for something to replace your 4Runner that was more comfortable and exciting to drive. You then wanted to buy something to get your son excited about being in a fun car. And the result is a car that can't be driven that is now parts on your garage. Now, I love that you're excited about it, and I am thrilled about that reality, but I really hope you get this car running soon, because so far we have, even though you have a conclusion for a car you bought, you haven't actually closed the gap to find something either more comfortable or more exciting to drive, or that gets your son excited about driving. You have introduced him to project cars, by the way,
early
and
in
I'm
life.
not sure if that's good or bad influence, but at the moment, this is a will run great when works.
Yeah, but Thomas writes he's still as excited as the day he bought it.
That's awesome.
Eager to get it on the road.
Which is amazing.
He's on the East Coast. He would love to think he'd be ready for a Tail of the Dragon trip. Life might get in the way, but he wanted to inspire others to make a bad decision.
I do love that. That's what this show's all about, honestly, yeah.
And you know how we were talking about keeping cars running forever?
Mm-hmm.
Thomas, that's what you're doing.
It's true.
By buying this old car and having the entire transaxle
drivetrain on your garage floor.
I understand. I have been there. It was at somebody else's garage floor,
Yes.
a buddy that helped me out with my 928 rebuild. I get it. You feel like you're keeping something alive.
That's true.
And you know what? As your son gets older and you guys get into this, you're going to have to keep it maintained. I mean, you have to do all the heavy lifting right now, but when he starts to drive, this is going to be your legacy. This is going to be you handing it to him at some point. Maybe it's his first car.
Easy there.
Nobody thinks that way anymore.
Easy.
Nobody buys a project car of a 40-year-old car and thinks, you know what? Maybe my kid is going to want this car and enjoy it. It doesn't always happen.
Don't put this pressure on poor Thomas. I do have to say, though,
I think it's awesome, though.
If you go from parts in your garage that your son sees to a running car that your son sees and rides in, even if he's not a car person going forward, that's going to make an impression.
By the way, Thomas, at FCP Euro, they've got a lot of parts for your 944.
They've got a lot of parts, yep.
That's where to get all the parts for your car, to get it running. We encourage you to get that thing running as soon as possible, but I know it takes time to get the right parts. FCP Euro will have those for you, but then once you do, that will make it last forever?
I mean, that's where we started on the podcast. As long as you keep maintaining it, theoretically, the car will keep running. We'll just see how likely that really is.
Episode 249 was where we discussed the Tesla Semi, which is actually out.
In limited
quantities, and the Tesla Roadster,
which is very much not out.
Where is that thing? And do we care?
Well, and is it relevant? All of these things. When the Avaya is blowing down records, is the Roadster going to be that much faster? I can't imagine.
And how much will the Roadster cost?
Well, yeah, and what happens to the people that gave him $250,000 15 years ago? It's unbelievable. 10 at least. Anyway, moving on to audience questions. You guys had a lot of really good questions. I want to first start off here with Trevor in Pasadena. Says, name some new cars that would be much more desirable if there weren't so many of them, if they weren't just so darn common. Exclusivity didn't matter to him earlier in life, but now it really does. Sometimes he prefers to buy a car that he knows is worse than the competitor just because it's rarer and it makes him want it more. What cars do you think would be more desirable if they weren't so common? I have 3 that may surprise you, but I really pondered this, and I think I have 3 cars that if you saw less of them, we would all be more wowed by them.
Okay.
And I realize what I'm about to say is a little bit about our part of the country and what we see here, but I thought of 3 excellent cars that because they're so common, we just look right by them. The 911, not the GT3 versions, just 911 Porsche.
Like a base model?
Just a 911. Of any era, just 911. Anything that's not a GT model. While they are excellent cars, how often do we as general car people go, it's a 911?
I think it depends on the area of the country you live in, but
to some degree, yes.
Not that often.
For the reverse area of the country, a base Corvette, a current C8 Corvette. If they weren't that common, and I'll give you the perfect example for why. When we went to Europe this past year, our friends at RSR have a C8 in the fleet.
That's right.
That's
a good example.
There's a sea of GT3 911s sitting at this track day, and the car that all of the Europeans are taking a picture of is the base Corvette.
That's
because
true.
They never see it. If Corvettes were rare, we'd all be going, there went a Corvette. I saw 2 on my way to your house today, 2 Corvettes. And while they're cool looking, I saw 2. My point is, if you rarely ever saw one, you'd be like, that was the C8, that was the mid-engine Corvette. Did you see it? There was a mid-engine Corvette right now.
I mean, it happened when it was new.
Yes. The last one is the current gen Prius.
Okay.
They're taxi cabs. There are 1,000 of them on your commute this morning, but it's a very good-looking car that drives surprisingly well and actually does its build sheet perfectly. It's car appliance that has technology and is a good commuter, seats aren't great, that gets fantastic gas mileage. And as a result, they're ubiquitous, and so we look right past them. But the truth is, it's still all of those things. It's just there's too many, and that guy's got one as a taxi cab.
That's really good. Trent writes to us on email. He's been away from driving a manual and just got another as his daily. He's discovering he doesn't think he was ever actually good at driving a manual.
We're all learning, man. We're all learning.
Constantly.
Yeah.
He says he doesn't have any problems with all the functions, but he's not smooth at all. He doesn't think this has to do with lack of recent practice, and his memory is that he was always this clunky. He's just missing something fundamental and probably has a lot of bad habits. So where would we point someone like Trent who wants to get better at this? And he's not talking about heel towing or double clutching. He just wants to shift more smoothly. He's watched a few YouTube videos, and they've pointed out a couple of his misconceptions, but where can he go just simply to work on this? Now, Trent, it sounds like you've got the manual already. You're not asking to learn manual on someone's car. So I feel like anybody that is willing to sit with you and teach you, but you mentioned misconceptions. And that tells me right away there's the approach, the way you think of it, and maybe just the fundamentals of understanding the mechanics of how things work. Maybe that's the place to start. So you're always thinking about this mechanical thing moving as you are doing it. You could, any car club, I think there's probably more people than you would realize that would happily and readily ride shotgun with you in your own car and give you their tips. From ask it around at Cars and Coffee, the next car show you're at. Hey, you've got a cool manual. Hey, would you mind teaching me sometime a little bit more, so I get a little bit smoother? I bet you that people would be more than willing, because people love to share their knowledge on stuff like that.
True.
They know you're not paying them. They wouldn't take $1. But to impart their wisdom, to share their knowledge, I think they'd be more than happy, whether it's forums, Cars and Coffee, your own friends. I bet you that people would be willing to share that with you. And you know what? Actually, the more differentiated that instruction is, I think the broader your knowledge base would be.
That's very good.
Not just watching YouTube videos.
Very good.
Because somebody isn't personalizing it for you.
True. That's excellent. Trent, I'm going to add to that and say this, because I'm actually in the process as my son is learning to drive. I'm watching him drive manual. I'm trying to help him get better. Okay? He's driven the Elise and he's driven the Amira as well, which is a staggeringly spoiled child. But anyway, the point is he's driven both of those manually, drives them both very differently. They're very different cars. And you're saying here you don't want to learn heel, toe, or double clutching, but you know the reality, Trent, is, yeah, you do. You want to learn all this stuff.
True.
The thing you want to be is better and smoother. And the greatest thing about this is the car's your daily. So it gives you constant opportunity to refine stuff. And I'm going to tell you one thing that I'm actually talking to my son about a lot that I hope will help you, and I realize was not taught to me. And I've had to remember this as I've taught my son on a manual. The clutch and the gas pedal are not on-off switches.
That's good.
And they're also not single-use devices.
That's good.
Okay? The reality is, I want you to play with how much throttle you're giving, how much clutch you're releasing, and how long you're doing those two things. And you may have some times when you do it wrong and you're just like, yeah, I really dragged the clutch and now I smell it. You may have that again and be like, I thought I was past that. But what you're trying to do is find nuance to the way you release the clutch. It's not just one quick, fast movement. It was the clutch is in and now it's out. That's not how it works. There's nuance. I notice when I drive, because I started to really think this through on all of my cars that I have. When I drive, there are stages to how I'm releasing the clutch. There's I'm finding the catch point, I'm rolling through the catch point, and then I'm rolling out of the pedal at the top. So I've got stages. There's at no point is my foot doing one singular motion from fully clutch in to fully clutch out, and neither is the gas pedal. There's a constant kind of balance and dance going on, and the car's attitude and the amount of rev that you have in the engine and all of this may make every shift a little different. So what I want you to do is feather both. Stay in both longer. And when you are shifting up to the next gear, I'm talking going up now, should you give it a little bit of throttle? Does that help the shift go quicker, even though you're still going up? When you're coming down, do you want to blip the throttle even though you're not braking, just to feel the fact that, oh, I did match that there? You're just trying to get as little shudder as possible out of the drive line. And the more you don't treat those two pedals as on-off, the more you'll get there.
I think that's excellent. There's also that point where you need to sort of pause.
Yes.
And you feel that clutch engage. It's not always just a smooth release. You're kind of pausing about halfway through that travel, and you feel everything kind of mesh and engage, and then you roll onto the gas.
That's excellent, because that's a big problem I actually had with Bodhi, because he wasn't doing a pause in the middle. We were having this kind of, he was trying to almost catch the car every single takeoff. And I was like, there is a pause point that you can feel when the car's starting to engage. Just give it a beat and then now roll out. So just play with the two.
Let's see, on Facebook, Adrian Lane's got a question on leather dash care. He picked up a 2024 Giulia 2.0 with a leather dash. Congratulations. He says in his knowledge of Porsche, he learned that they can fail. Sure enough, there's a few reports of Alphas failing. He doesn't have a garage, so he tinted the windshield, and he's using a sunshade. That's excellent.
Very good.
How often should he use, and what Grillo's product should he use to keep it fresh? They've got leather cleaner and leather care. It sounds like your car is probably new enough. Leather cleaner is really designed for seats that have been used for years, and it's trying to get a lot of the dirt that's been worked into the leather, trying to get that out. And then leather care is a consistent usage. Now, remember that it's on the dashboard, so it also depends on the quality of the supplier and the glue that actually mounts that piece of leather to the instrument panel itself. If the glue fails, there isn't enough product that you can put on to do that. So eventually you can get it restretched, or you could have an upholsterer probably repair that. But definitely regular leather care use, because again, it doesn't sound like you need to do any deep cleaning. So usage of the leather care, because that will enable that leather to stretch as it heats and cools. It'll allow it to kind of, in the sun, it'll kind of keep it from getting too brittle. It'll keep it supple. So that's my recommendation.
Zach was asking us, how do you avoid the sick of driving feeling on long road trips through parts of the drive that aren't fun? Well, Zach, if you've noticed, we take a few road trips. So this is relevant. Actually, I'll tell you the thing that transformed it for me, and that was audiobooks. And I discovered them in college, and I've been a big believer in them ever since. I mean, granted, podcasts obviously help as well, but something that occupies your brain, and I'm such a story guy anyway, I love actually having an audiobook. When you're doing that thing where it's just like, I'm going to do the next 300 miles in a mostly straight line at cruise control, that's no fun, okay? But you want to get through it because your brain is simultaneously occupied by doing a story. Now, please keep driving, keep paying attention, but that is the way that I get through it all the time is audiobooks. I find that music doesn't work as well. Podcasts can be great.
Yeah.
But
music can get, it depends on what you're listening to, I guess.
The thing I find about an audiobook, the reason that it helps me is because audiobooks, I get the long ones. It takes so long to get somewhere when an audiobook is 8, 12, 20 hours long. Mm-hmm. That seems to reduce the sense of I've only gone another 10 miles. Mm-hmm. Because I'm in my brain has decided to be engaged in something for a long distance because the audiobook is a long thing. Mm-hmm, and so the fact that I may be driving for the next 5 hours is less of an issue. That's what helps me.
I found that switching audiobooks midstream also weirdly helps because your brain is already in the trajectory of where that book, that storyline is going.
Sure. So record scratch.
At the next gas station, your next fill up, and you
look at that. I like it.
Break,
I like it. Yeah.
Start in on the other one that you've been listening to and make your brain rethink you're on to it. It changes everything.
That's good.
It's like the tunnel vision that you get on the highway. You got to break out of it, and you're in the zone. And then you're going to get back in your car and have something totally different and fresh.
That's good.
So you're breaking it up between rest stops, listening to 2 books or
That's
something.
That's crazy. I actually I didn't break them up, but I actually had one really long road trip once where I did 3 different audiobooks in one road trip, back to back to back. And about a week later, I really couldn't remember which story was which. It was like, I have no idea what those were about. Anyway, Stahl is writing in from Norway. Thank you for writing in again. He said, the other night, he and his girlfriend, shouting out to his girlfriend Linda, were watching something on TV, and then he turned the TV over and put on, from our YouTube channel, our recent Alpine A110 C8 Z06 episode on the big screen in the house, and she looked at him and said, those guys again. And he was like, it's a road trip episode. I think it'll be cool. Let's just try it. She was like, all right, we'll try it. And when it was over, she said, why don't we take a drive tomorrow? Which I think is a victory and really, really cool. And so I'm expecting you went out for a nice drive for lunch. You took your 1998 SLK you just got that's mint for an 8-hour drive.
Unbelievable.
I applaud you both for taking a drive that much. I love that we were any part of inspiration in that, and thank you for watching. But I think it's amazing that you did the Norwegian-Swedish border through mountains, forests, small towns, and loved it. And I love that you did it in that car. But man, why don't we take a drive tomorrow? I did not expect to be an 8-hour adventure. Bravo to you guys. That's amazing.
Richard Damiano on Instagram. He's been with us on many trips, adventures. Asks if the true purpose of the GT car is for the driver to go as fast as they want and the passenger to be blissfully unaware because they are cosseted in luxurious quietness and comfort. Yes, the GT car is designed to distract your passengers so much from the speedometer that they never notice how fast you're going, and suddenly, I don't know why we shaved 30 minutes off our arrival time.
The only problem is then people like Ferrari go and put the actual dash on the extra screen on the passenger side, and now they could pull up the dash that they couldn't see otherwise.
Reach over and
just turn that off. Yeah, you need to have like driver silence mode.
It was probably put on for that exact reason.
Exactly why it was put on, yeah.
For friends, spouses to know, how fast are you going?
How fast are we going?
Are we still on the route?
Yep.
Guys, thank you for all your questions. Really appreciate it. Write to us, everydaydrivertv@gmail.com for all your Topic Tuesdays, car conclusions, the car debates, and then on social media, Facebook and Instagram. We'll continue to post photos from our trip as those pieces come out and press cars that we drive. Really appreciate all your interaction. Please let us know how you're consuming the podcast, and we really appreciate any feedback that you have on it. Looking forward to next time. As always,
absolutely.
Cheers, everyone.